I love you, Allah.
Isn't it already time right now for those who claim that they believe أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله, that their hearts should be filled with awe, they should be overwhelmed with feelings of Allah's power because of remembering Allah. Allah says, isn't it yet time yet that your heart felt something? Like, you know, when you're listening to a message, when you're reading a message, your mind processes it. You understand what's being said. Allah says that's not enough. Allah wants your heart to feel something. Allah wants you to feel overwhelmed by the remembrance of Allah. What remembrance of Allah does He mean? He makes the bayan of that Himself. He says, وَمَا نَزَلَ مِنَ الْحَقِّ. That is to say, aren't their hearts filled with awe? Aren't they overwhelmed by what they hear from what came down from the truth, meaning Quran itself? Isn't it already time right now that you should feel something in your heart because of the Quran that's being read to you? Because of the Quran that you get to hear? Why hasn't that happened yet? He asked that really scary question. أَلَمْ يَأْنِ لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَن تَخْشَعَ قُلُوبُهُمْ لِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ. This same Quran that we hear in Salah, that we're standing in Taraweeh and listening to, that maybe you're in a super Islamic mode this month and you're even playing some recitation in the car when you're driving, but nothing's happening to my heart. I'm not feeling anything. I don't feel tears come down my eyes. I don't feel overwhelmed. You know, when somebody else gives me good news, somebody calls me and says, hey, I graduated, you're overwhelmed with joy. When somebody else says, I had a car accident, you're overwhelmed with fear. These feelings happen when other people give us a message of good news or bad news. But when Allah gives good news and bad news, when Allah gives advice, when Allah counsels, nothing happens. My heart is exactly where it was. It's just pretty sounds that are going on. And for some of us, the Quran is being recited, or you just hit play in the car, and you're having a conversation, and Quran's playing in the background. It's like background music for you now. You know, this is فَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ. Then, you know, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا. Listen to it carefully and silence. Be quiet. Quran is being recited. This is the word of Allah being recited. This is, as soon as it's being recited, whether it's an MP3 you're playing, or some app, or whatever, it's not just a file that you just hit play on. These are the words of Allah. You're supposed to be in awe and say, shh, Allah is talking. And if you really want to have that conversation, pause and have your conversation. You know, sometimes you go to restaurants in Ramadan, usually they're playing music in the background. Right? In Ramadan, they're playing Quran in the background. And every time I go to a restaurant that's playing Quran in the background, I literally respectfully go and ask, can you please turn that off? And I'm like, wait, you're the guy with the beard. You're supposed to say, turn that up, yo. But you know what? People are talking in the restaurant. People are engaged in conversation. People are socializing. How are they socializing with the words of Allah, just background noise? This is the kalimatullahi al-ulya. This is the word of Allah, that it's in the highest place. If we can't give it that respect, then we shouldn't be listening to it at the time. If you're going to listen to it, then drop everything else. Drop everything else. Be silent. Be in humility before the word of Allah. And if we can't feel that towards the word of Allah, then how is it that what Allah is saying is going to make us feel anything? First, you have to have a respect for it. You have to have an appreciation for what magnificent thing this is. These words. We didn't deserve these words. And humanity did not deserve these words. This is a gift. قُلْ بِفَضْلِ اللَّهِ وَبِرَحْمَتِهِ. Tell them this is an extra favor from Allah, and it's coming by His rahmah alone. We did not deserve the word of Allah. فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. They should be overwhelmed with joy because of this Quran. هُوَ خَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. It's better than anything they can collect. No treasure they will ever have is going to compare to this Quran. This is supposed to be my attitude towards the Quran. And here in Surah Al-Hadid, Allah says, why hasn't your heart moved yet? Why haven't you felt anything yet when you hear my words? أن تخشع قلوبهم لذكر الله وما نزل من الحق. And he says, this isn't the first time this happened, you know. Quran, the greatest word of Allah, has come, but before Tawrat was given, previous books were given, and he says, وَلَا يَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ مِنْ قَبْلِ. They better not become like those who were given the book way back, long time ago. فَطَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَمَدُ. Then long generations, periods passed over them, meaning they held on to the book for, in the time of Musa alayhi salam, but then 1 generation, 2 generations, 20 generations, 30 generations, so many centuries went by, millennia went by, and this is an old religion now. Just like with Islam, it's been 1500 years. So طَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَمَدُ. And what does Allah describe? What happens when a long period goes by and you originally had the book and you were amazed by this book, you were in awe of this book, but when a long period goes by, then it just becomes part of your culture. It's just something you do like other things you do, but it's not really like something that moves your heart. So he says, فَطَالَ عَلَيْهِمُ الْأَمَدُ فَقَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ. Then their hearts became hard. Their hearts couldn't feel anything. They could be in the month of the Quran and the only thing they're thinking about is what's for iftar, or who invited us, or they had 4 dishes at their iftar, we have to have 5. Or what are we going to wear for Eid? Did you get the outfits yet? Have you gone shopping yet? Oh man, it's like 10 days left. The bazaar is going to be like crazy. We better go do our shopping now. I better place my online order now. Oh my God, it's the wrong size. This is all that's going on in our head? Listen to what Allah says in the same surah. Hearts became hard. What does He say later on? He says people are distracted in this world. اعلموا أنما الحياة الدنيا لعب ولهو وزينة وتفاخر بين. Same surah. He says worldly life for most people, what is the life of this world? It's just playing around. How do you pass the time? Some kids like in fasting, what do we do, man? At least school's out. It's hot outside. I'm just gonna hit my PS4 on button and the afternoon's gonna get spent playing. Because what else am I going to do with my time? Worldly life, you don't know what to do with yourself, you just want to play. Like children, want to play. Well, or if not play, then maybe you're a little older, walahwan, entertainment. Okay, let me finish the season 2's out. Let me finish season 2. Because there's still like 45 minutes before Maghrib. This is what Allah says worldly life for people is playing around, entertaining themselves, for everybody else. That's all their life is. They just go from one kind of entertainment to the next kind of entertainment to the next kind of entertainment. One game to the next game to the next game. This is all that life becomes. I need to play or I need to be entertained. And then for those of you that are like, no, I don't have that problem. Alhamdulillah. I don't watch TV. I don't watch movies. I don't watch Netflix. I don't watch nothing. And I don't play around. Well, maybe you have the next virus, which is وَتَفَاخُرٌ بَيْنَكُمْ. Just to show off to each other. What did you make? What was for iftar? Where'd you go? What'd you dress in? For some people, that's their thing. To show off. To be able to say, hey, you know what I made today? You know what I cooked? And that's all that's going on. I mean, it's one thing to do it for people who need help. It's another thing to do it as a friendly gesture. But if this is all that Ramadan has become, then the hearts have become hard. Then we're just distracted. We've become more worldly in the month where we're supposed to disconnect from the world. This was the month that we're supposed to feed our soul. This is the month that we're supposed to let go of worldly ambition. Allah Azza wa Jal gave us the starvation of the entire day, and what do? Now we feed ourselves more than we normally ever would. And if you allow the hearts to stay hard, then what does Allah say? فَقَسَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَكَثِيرٌ مِّنْهُمْ فَاسِقُونَ. Then majority of them become corrupt. Then when the heart becomes hard, then that becomes shaitan's playing field. Then all the other disobediences to Allah, all the worst things that a human being should not partake in, they take hold. They come in. This is the month where the heart is supposed to become soft because shaitan has been chained. So he's not there to mess with us. If we're doing his job for him, preparing our hearts to stay hard in this month, then we're missing the point. He comes back full force, and it's like Ramadan never happened. It's like that spiritual growth that you're supposed to have. Your heart was supposed to connect to Allah. It never happened.